It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It's a blessing, big time,
It's
man.
a blessing. My name is Charles Leander. My business entity is Intellectual Consciousness Awareness. That intellect, that knowledge, that scholastic knowledge of learning to develop your intellect. Also your consciousness. When you wake up in the morning, I am up, I am ready, I am conscious. Awareness. What are we aware of? Intellectual consciousness awareness. I met Brother David by chance, not by coincidence, because coincidences have a reason behind it. Things happen in tune with what you're about. And we met by chance based on what I'm about, talking to a business entity. I was having a social meeting in an open environment, and Brother David here overheard our conversation, interjected, and we split ways. After we split ways, I took it upon myself to find this brother again, because his interjection caused a reaction in me that was structured positively, structured ethically, structured within my consciousness awareness. And I was made aware of your presence, brother. It's a blessing, it's a blessing, it's a blessing.
Big time,
It's a blessing.
man. Gosh, man.
So when I ran into you, I was having a conversation with a business entity, and I was removing myself from their environment. And we spoke once since then, and we went into positive attunement, people structure, mind elevation. There was an awareness about you that I liked, and I had to come and talk to you. And you can dive in at any time. Tell me what was on your mind at that time,
man.
when you saw that I was reaching back out to you, what made you speak up in the first place, anything that comes to thought.
I'm David Gibbons. I like to call myself the African slave. I am the superior intellectual athlete, the superior human being that will ever exist. And there's a whole lot that I am learning from Charles. Notice that I said I'm the superior human being intellectual that will ever exist, and then I said I'm learning a whole lot from Charles, because that's what a superior intellectual realizes, that you never stop learning.
Amen.
You never stop learning.
Amen,
And there's
brother.
a trillion, a gazillion, infinity of things for this superior intellectual to continue to learn, to stay above the human race. And that's why I will continue to learn and grasp a whole lot of knowledge that Charles has, because he's reading things that I haven't read. And I love that, and I love his intelligence about him. And we was in a place, and these three beautiful people came and sat down. And let me tell you, I thought he and this lady were getting a divorce. And the guy was the lawyer. But then I thought about it. In actuality, they were divorcing. They were separating. But it was a different kind of divorce. It was a workplace divorce.
Correct.
And so a divorce was happening. And I was surprised that they were in that environment, in the public setting. So the conversation got my ear, because it superseded all of the other conversation that I was hearing and that I've heard in that establishment. So I listened for an hour or maybe two. And then I said, well, let me record some of this. I got out my tablet.
Yep, you told me.
And I recorded
You
it.
told me.
And they were winding down, trying to figure out how they're gonna end the conversation. And I said, let me go over there and interject, because I wanted to introduce and get contact with them, because these are people that I could deal with because they're intellectual based and they're business based. And I identified Charles as the one that would give me his information. And then when I went over there and asked, the other two said, well, I don't have it. No, I don't have it. Then Charles said, yeah, I don't have a business card, but Charles said, I'll give you my number. I said, that's just as good. But then something happened.
Something happened.
What happened?
Well, what we would call in the business world a conflict of interest based on my position still being present in that institution versus me giving out my nonprofit information. So at that moment, it was put on pause. We had to retract the offer. Mm-hmm. But what ensued was a spark of what I was trying to get at within the corporate setting, which was being genuine, being real, treating people with respect. And out of what he heard for the 2 hours or the 3 hours, at that moment when he interjected, it was a display of his character, my character, and the character of the people that were around us. And after meditating and replaying the whole scenario out, I knew I had to find this brother, because in my endeavors to develop my personal spiritual awareness within intellectual consciousness awareness, I look for the light that is within. I look for the light that is within us all. And some people it's more prevalent, some people it's subsided, and some people it takes a, hey brother, how you doing this morning? Some people that's all it takes for it to come out. And it's a great joy to know that I reapproached him, I asked him for his needs, and his needs were humbling. His needs were humbling to the point where I'm like, nah, this is too good to be true. So here we are, and I'm gonna post this on my my YouTube for people to see, to give some feedback, to let them know that we are out here. We are out here praying. We are out here recognizing. We are out here enjoying God's light of love.
You know, when I didn't get his number and it had to be retracted, I was like, okay, cool. I was right as far as who would give me the information. And then I think he came and approached me again, and he said, you don't remember me? I said, no. Then he said, well, you remember? I said, oh, okay, yeah. I didn't think nothing of it. He came back again. Like, whoa. And then when he explained to me why he came, I say, this brother's on another level that I have to respect big time. Because at some point, something triggered in him at what had happened and what I had did. And you had to be an intellectual to get what he got.
Yes, indeed.
And so he understood not only what I did, but he understood what transpired between the four and what happened, as he said, in the corporation being genuine. And so when he came back and reapproached me again, this is somebody that we and I have to be in contact with, because the genuineness is where I'm at. And when you get to a certain age in life and you get to a certain level of intelligence and you say you are these things, superior this, superior that, you have to live by it. And you have to show that intelligence whenever it appears in front of you. And I am humbled and honored that he came back and showed that intelligence to me, big time. And so this is going to be a lifelong relationship for Charles and I. And we're going to discuss, and what I want to say, a whole worldly gamut of things under the sun.
Under his light.
And that's where that my intelligence is going to stay supersede above the human race. And I hope Charles say, well, I'm going to catch you and get you. I would say, good luck, Charles. Please do.
We are on our way.
Because
brother.
I'm still continue to strive. And when I walk away and leave Charles, I'm going to find something else. I see somebody coming, let me keep striving so I can go and let him know where I'm at so he can keep coming.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
So, you know, it's just an honor to run into somebody who's into serious conversation, who's not chasing money. Who's not chasing money. Because when you're chasing money, you don't have time to really analyze and develop intellectually to be able to discuss and analyze the thing that's going on in this world. So I'm just honored.
Oh yes, it's a blessing. It's a blessing, and I love the fact that you touched on the capitalism aspect of where people are going and what people are doing with the intent to capitalize. Of course, we all know that we have to have revenue in order to acquire what we want. But if what you want is knowledge and you put God first, you put your spirituality first, He will reveal the revenues in which to get what you're looking for.
And I'm going to interrupt Charles.
Oh yeah, no problem, brother.
I've talked to Charles and other people about that pronoun, or I guess what they call it. When you identify that higher power or that God as a he, I'm trying to get that also out of existence as identifying the higher power as a gender. It's a habit. People is habitually formed. It's a habit forming. And reason why I say that, we cannot act as if we know the Creator or God. We must always act as we do not have any clue about that Creator or God. We know this land because we humans are so quick to say, you don't know me, step back. You can't talk to me like that. You don't know me. We humans are quick to say that. Well, how can we say we know a Creator when we
Distance ourselves.
when we distance ourselves from humans? When we can tell a human, you don't know me. I see you in the flesh, human. I do know you. You're like me. You don't even know what a Creator or God looks like. The Creator created this entity. Don't ever identify it as a gender. That is disrespectful. Keep calling it God. Keep calling it the Creator of existence, whatever it is, but don't identify it as a gender because it's not us. And I give it back to the brother
great.
Charles.
No, great. Great point. Because it's one of those conformities that we've done to the principle of the Holy Creator. We've conformed it, we've genderized it.
See, I love that Creator. See, I can get high off that. I can get high off the Creator.
We put it in this box, so to speak, and it doesn't, there's nowhere to fathom it in a box. He is the supreme, she is the supreme, it is the all, it is the flow, it is the essence, it is the connection that keeps us attuned to each other.
Right. And Charles, I would not have a problem with identifying God as a he. If they had only identified God as a he, she, had it been equal. When we talk about gender equality, had they gender equalized, I like to try to create words and I screw things
No
up.
problem.
Had they genderized God equally with male, she, he, God is she, he, I'd have been fine with that. And that's where man gets, it's one of the reasons where man gets his superiority over the female species by identifying God as a he. Man will tell you, you better not ever call God a she. And so that's why I want to get that out of existence.
Yeah, I mean, it's there for people to look at themselves. There's books that's been written on this. The concept of the equality of the Holy Creator being non-gender, and we are the ones who are on the lower level seeing it as a gender because we don't have that intellect, that insight, that foresight. And a few books that touched on that, Dan Brown wrote a couple of them, and when he touched on the female-male equality as a oneness, it becomes this big sensitive issue.
Right, right.
And they don't want to touch it, and they don't want to, they don't want to scrutinize. They don't want to be looked at, And it's part of that conformity of society where they want to have that one-mindedness. So when I see a brother like this, and I can say, God is all, he, she, be, it is the all, and we know what we're talking about. Once it's established, don't worry, we won't have to spell it out for them.
Okay, cool.
They either gonna get it or they don't get it.
Right, right.
And if they want to be sensitive to the issue, they say get some Vagisil. Oh man, that's the blessing. That's the love. That's the authenticity.
And let me speak about the gender equality thing that people try to bring up and discuss. There's always going to be inequality. There's always going to be inequalities between male and females. It is just how it is structured. For example, the inequality between men and women going to war. There's a huge inequality between that. There's a huge inequality between the men who've died in war compared to the women who've died in war. And there was a guy that was talking about it on C-SPAN, and he mentioned this. All the sacrifices men have done for women and dying and building, creating things, going in those mines, dying in those mines, digging canals, dying, going to war. Even though men were selfishly fighting for land and property in war, but that's what they did. Men have sacrificed a whole lot for women, and men have a right to have that inequality of power over the female gender. It is just what it is. There will never be an equality between the male and the female in wealth and power. That will never ever happen. My guys, let me say my guys, Charles. My guys are playing a role now in 2018 by talking about getting gender equality. My guys are playing a role. But females don't ever think in this existence that you will be males equal. Because I, David Givens, am here to tell you that you're not my equal. When I say that, that means that it's not playtime. Because you can't do the things that I do. You can't do the things that men have done to build and shape and advance our existence.
And here's where the difference is going to lie. It's understood that there are certain things that a female are not going to be able to do in terms of lifting or, athletic capabilities.
Right.
Right now we have very few mixed gender competitions. Whether it be track and field or football, or it's genderized based on the principle of stature. Is what you're getting at. Whether it be running for office or handling heavy machinery, what the checks and balance comes into play is where you have to know that within the things that you yourself as that individual being can't do, there are things where that other female component can do. That's where the equality will come in. Because we ain't dropping no babies.
Right. And you remember the discussion that we had earlier? They can't drop babies without
us.
Thank you.
So now that's where the equal presence comes in.
Now, when I talk about the equality, there's an equality that should exist between men and women, and that goes with intelligence. See, there's no entity, race, gender, or ethnicity that is smarter than another. So that's where the battle should be. Who's the smartest intellectually? Bring it on, men, women, anybody, bring it on. See, that's the competition that I want right there. That is for everybody. You know what? Let me take that back. Competition intellectually is not for everybody because some people don't want to compete.
Yeah.
See, I had to correct myself on that. Some people don't like competition. Some people just like to. I'm that dude. I love to compete in all aspects. So, any intellectual, bring it on. because that's why I'm going to continue study different maths later on. I'm gonna do a little reading, try to catch up with Charles, because Charles is reading his behind on. You know, so the inequality, the equality between men and women should be with intelligence, because there is no gender that's smarter than another. There is no race that is smarter than another. That's just how much time you want to put in to be that intellectual that is pretty much governing
Oh yeah,
and moving people, running the world.
people,
You know.
taking away that labeled bias, the black, white, Asian, you know, who can intellectually succeed at a subject other than another. That separates the classes, and it begins there. But having that understanding that we are all people, male, female, dominant, non-dominant. I'm the type of brother that I love that, the equilateral, the equilateral field. That's the word I'm trying to put in there, that
Right.
equilateral playing field. But there's certain things that men will do that women not gonna do. Yeah, there's women in construction,
Right.
but it's not dominated by women in construction. And of course, you know, there's men who can't cook.
Right. There,
You know?
there are
So,
men who teach, but women dominate
the teaching
the
industry.
teaching industry.
So we don't want it to get misconstrued as if we are, you know, King Midas sitting on the throne holding the, you know, the Templar, and
Right.
like, hey, this is it. No, we want to reach that mutual understanding. That's why we're having this conversation intellectually, because we can talk, we can beg to differ, or we can say, hey, what about this opinion? What about that?
Right.
We're gonna take a break. The sun is welcoming, it's warmth, it's energizing. We're gonna take a break, and we will be back again with Brother David Givens and Charles Leander from International Intellectual Consciousness Awareness.
And people, please do not be afraid to learn, because us humans are capable of so much, as you see how the world has been, I don't want to say developed, how the world has been used to advance us into different times and eras in the things that have been created. People, use your mind and your abilities to max out your potential. Let's end with that.
Amen. Blessings, blessings, blessings.
Much love to my beautiful girls and their parents and the superpower of the human race. The girl, y'all gonna learn about her soon.